Hey, Canucks. Future of Canucks head coach Bruce Boudreau. I am Canuck Clay, and it's my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Saturday, April the 2nd. If you're new, here's what you should do. Hit the subscribe button now for daily Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. Yes, I'm back after a break of a couple days. I'm out of protocol, if you know what I mean. I'm excited to be back vlogging daily for you about my favorite team. A couple things real quick before I get into today's topic. Today's Saturday, that means tomorrow's Sunday. That means tomorrow is my weekly Ask Me Anything vlog. So head over to my community tab after you watch this and leave a question for me tomorrow. Me and my voice that is back, I'll be happy to answer your question. Also, tomorrow night means live stream 10 p.m. Can't wait for you to join me. Hopefully we're wrapping up a Canucks Vegas win over the Vegas Golden Knights. As well today, a big day for the three Mo's. Sean, Jacob, and Kayla are all bowling in their provincial championships. The first time in 2 years. It was canceled last year. So I'll be heading over to Lucky 9 to go watch them bowl as soon as I upload this video. Okay, and I'll update you throughout the day, I'm sure. Let's talk about Bruce Boudreau. Now you might say, Clay, why are we talking about his future? He's had such a good year, and of course we should keep him. Of course, we shouldn't let him go. Of course, he should be the future of our franchise. Well, not so fast. Let's talk about a couple things. Firstly, when he got hired way back in December, it was actually only a 2-year contract. Technically, it was a 1-year contract plus a 1-year option. So that means the team has the option to extend him. I'm sure they will, because you got to look at his coaching record, his track record, so to speak, since he's come here in the first week of December. But here's the tricky thing. When he got hired, he was hired at the same time that Jim Rutherford was coming in as our president. No problem. But we did not have our new general manager, Patrick Allvin, at the time. And just like we've heard in other organizations, sometimes the GM will want to make a decision on his own coach. So will Patrick Allvin want to bring in one of, quote, his guys, or will he be fine recognizing what Bruce Boudreau has done here in less than 4 months of time? So let's talk about what he's done here. When he got here, the Canucks were brutal. You guys know this. We know this. I know this. They were 8-15-2. They had 18 points in 25 games. That is a 360 points percentage, right? 18 points out of a total possible of 50. 360 points percentage. Since Boudreau's been here, the Canucks have gone, well, now the fact that they have 73 points in 69 games. In the 44 games since he's been here, the Canucks have gone 23, 14, and 7. 23 wins, 14 outright losses, and 7 extra time losses. So that's 44 points. No, 24, 13, and 7. No, sorry, that's 55 points in those 44 games. 55 points in those 44 games means 55 points out of a total possible 88. That's a 625 points percentage. So remember, under Green, it was 360. Under Boudreau, it's been 625. You ask Clay, well, where does 625 stack up against the rest of the league? If the Canucks had a 625 points percentage from the start of the season, they'd be 12th overall in the league. So not top 10, not top 5, but they'd be 12th overall, right behind the St. Louis Blues. So think of how well the Blues are playing right now, battling for the second spot in the Central. That's what the Canucks equivalent would be, a 625 points percentage. So there's no doubt that under Boudreau, the Canucks are a playoff caliber team. Have they been the most consistent team? Not really. We had the Boudreau bump, I think, when we won the first 7 or 8 games underneath Boudreau. And then under Boudreau, I should say, not underneath them. And then you can tell I'm still getting over. And then we kind of went up and down through the end of the start of January. Went on that really tough road trip where we had to play against Tampa and Florida and Carolina and Washington. Didn't do so well on that road trip. Actually, we did okay. I think we went 2-3. Then we had that unfortunate, disappointing homestand at the end of January. Picked it up a bit in February, but then we had that really disappointing homestand in March before a decent road trip just now, and then losing back-to-back against the Blues. So you can see, ever since those first 7 or 8 games, we've basically been a 500 team under Boudreau. So then you ask yourself, well, what's the real team? What's the real Bruce Boudreau team? Is it the one that won the first 8 or 9 games underneath them? Or is it the one that's kind of been, 500 since then? Answer's probably a bit of both. I think that was a real team that we saw that won those first 8 or 9 games. But at the same time, we've seen as the competition gets tougher, as teams start to ramp up for the playoffs, as we see the deficiencies in our own lineup, I think, like I said, I think there's a bit of truth in both. So the big question is, what would you do about Boudreau? Would you extend him now? Because if you don't extend him this offseason, he basically goes into next season as a what they call a lame duck coach. That means he's going to his last year of his contract without a contract extension. And they tried to avoid that with Travis Green. That's why there's such a big deal not after the bubble season, but after the next season. The question was, were they going to extend Travis Green? And they waited until the off season. And there was a lot of consternation. There was a lot of hesitation and a lot of disappointment in our market that how could you do that to a guy? And then a lot of people actually wanted Travis Green back, but some people didn't. And we saw how that turned out. Regardless of Travis Green's situation, it's funny how this always happens to head coaches, because rarely does a head coach just finish his contract and then leave. Rarely does that happen. Usually, I'm just going to adjust this real quick. Usually one of two things happens. A coach will get fired. Unfortunately, you are hired to be fired in the NHL, or a coach will leave on his own volition before his contract ends. Rarely do you hear of a coach make it to the end of his contract and just kind of move on, because always that last season of that contract is going to be what you call your lame duck year. So again, that's what we hear about coaches usually. They either get fired or they end up quitting on their own volition. So what is Boudreau going to do? Well, you can't, conservative logic or just common sense says you can't really go into next season with him being in his last year of his contract. That's what you call a lame duck contract, like I said, a lame duck coach. And I know it's kind of weird because the Canucks knew they were going to get to that situation by only hiring him to a 2-year contract, signing him to a 2-year contract. But again, remember when they did that, they didn't have a GM locked in. They didn't have, their presidency was up in the air. So maybe ownership didn't want to commit to long term. But we saw what Boudreau has done with the team. Like I said, a .625 points percentage and a playoff caliber team. What would I do? I think he's 67 years old, so it's not like he's super old, but he's getting up there. I think between him and Rutherford, they're like the oldest president-coach combination in the league by far. I think Rutherford's 73, Boudreau 67. That's total combined age of 140. So that's not, they're no spring chickens, let's put it that way. I would extend Boudreau for 2 more years. So then it's a total of 4 years. It's last year, or this year I should say, plus another 3. Then at least that gives him the option to quit sometime in there, or if you have to relieve him of his duties, you can. But it just gets you out of this 1-year contract, this 1-year lame duck situation. And if you only extend him for 1 more year, then really you're just kicking the can down the road, as they say, for another season. And then you're going to be faced with this situation again at the end of next year. So I think if Travis Green got his 2-year extension, maybe that's what I would do with Boudreau, is I'd give him a 2-year extension, take him till he's about 70 years old, and then maybe at that time you come up with an agreement. But that's way down the road that he either quits, he retires, or you end up replacing him before the end of his last year. So that's my thought, is I think he's been great for the team. The power play has improved. The penalty kill has improved. More importantly, their morale, their self-esteem, their confidence, their style of play have all improved. Are there holes? Certainly. Are there deficiencies? Of course. But that's not his problem. That's Patrick Allvin's job, is to start to tinker with this roster and make it a stronger roster overall. All Bruce Boudreau can do is coach the players that he has. And with that, I think he's done a great job. Canucks fans, let me know what you think. What would you do with Bruce Boudreau? Would you just let him ride out this next season as a lame duck coach? Would you make a change at the end of this season already, which seems a little bit harsh? Or would you give him an extension? And in my view, I think it should be a 2-year extension, bringing his total time here to 4 years. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts on Bruce Boudreau. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Perform and Transform, personal training and weight loss. Sign up now for a free 7-day trial. Use the link in my video descriptions. And to Van City Experts Real Estate Group, contact Jason Lim and his team for all of your real estate needs. Shout out to legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Justin Credible, legendary Andrew Chang, and Hall of Fame members Jens95, simalexander, Chris Seifert, Adam Brewfield, Shannon Hollingworth, HN7 Fangirl Gaming, Smooth Groove, and Carol Bovenlander. Thank you for your support as always, and thanks to the support of all members of all levels. You are listed in my video descriptions. If you want to become a member of the CCC Crew, press the join button underneath this or my videos or on the memberships tab on my YouTube channel. As always, subscribe if you'd like to, like this video if you'd like to, become a member of this channel or upgrade if you'd like to, and leave a comment down below if you'd like to. What do you think the Canucks should do with Bruce Boudreau going forward? Also, go to my community tab and leave me a question for my Ask Me Anything tomorrow. I'll check in with you tomorrow with some bowling results and a preview of tomorrow night's game, Vancouver Canucks, Vegas Golden Knights. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. It is great to be back. God bless, and go Canucks go.